In 1995, Jeff Gordon, at age 24, became the youngest NASCAR champion in the modern era of the sport. Hello everyone, I'm Benny Parsons, and I'm standing outside the home of Jeff and Brooke Gordon, just outside Charlotte, North Carolina. During that incredible 95 campaign, Jeff and Brooke kept an extraordinary home video diary of the entire roller coaster ride. A season of pain, sacrifice, challenge, and ultimately, the ultimate racer's dream come true. They were also kind enough to let our cameras join them from the racetrack to the home front. In a year in the life, in the quest for the Winston Cup. Behind this door is a story of one man in his dream, but changed the name and dates, and it's also the story of every racer who had the skill, determination, and that little bit of luck to be called a NASCAR champion. Let's go inside and relive the year that's the opening chapter of a NASCAR legend. Throughout the history of the sport, the quest for the Cup starts here in Daytona. True when they ran on the beach, true when Richard Petty set the standard, true today. For Jeff and all the drivers, a win can set the tone for a season. Failure can cast a season-long shadow if you let it. Jeff's 1995 run in the Fable 500 was not the stuff of dreams, and he knew it well. But as he would one day find out, nor was it a true indication of what lay ahead. Brooke started getting it all down on tape.
Hey, sweetie, what you doing? What are you doing?
I've got this idea that I think this is going to be a really good year, and so I'm going to do a video of the year and just kind of document just for us. I mean, I know you don't want to do this probably, but I think this will be something good to have someday to show our children.
Well, what makes you so sure it's going to be a good year? Because I mean, we just got back from Daytona and it wasn't the best.
Well, I mean, you were running really good, and you were leading, you know, the first part of the race, and I think that it's going to be a good one, so I want to have it on film.
Well, this ought to be real interesting. You behind the camera. I'm looking forward to that. But I think you're right. I think it is going to be a great year, but we'll just see what happens. Daytona was going so well. We knew we had a great car. We had an opportunity to win the Daytona 500, and the first thing that happened was those guys got down. They said, man, you know, we lost the Daytona 500, and it was my job to pump them right back up and to get them excited again and say, listen, you know, this is one race. We're going to have several opportunities to be the winners of the Daytona 500 again, and we've got this whole season ahead of us, and that's what we got to look forward to, and we can't get down. You know, it just wasn't our day, and we're going on to the next one. All right, guys, don't worry about it. You got the camera. You started this, so hand it over. Oh boy, I don't know if I can get used to this. You're inside there with me when I'm on the racetrack. So tell me what your feelings were. I mean, what was going through your mind, you know, through that race?
Well, I mean, you were doing so good, and I was so excited, and then the rain came, and I was like, oh no, is this a bad sign? And they had to red flag the race because the rain came, and you were leading up to that point, and I was like, oh, just keep on going good, and then that's when the next pit stop, when the jack, you know, fell and had the problems with the car and stuff. But I hurt really bad. I mean, I think what it is that I hurt so bad for you, and I see all the disappointment of the guys' faces, you know, on the team, because I'm in the pits and I'm watching Ray's reaction and the team's reaction.
Well, you're thinking we're going to win the Daytona 500?
Yeah. It's disappointing, but the good thing is Rockingham's this week, and you know you've got a good car from Rockingham, and the Monte Carlo's running great, and you know that all the guys on the team are pumped up again, and we're going to go out there, and I think this will be a good one.
After disappointment in Daytona, Rockingham was redemption. A checkered flag demonstration of a resiliency that hinted the real stuff Jeff and the team were made of.
For the win, Jeff Gordon, victory number 3.
Coming back from our Daytona problem to win and dominate Rockingham the way that we did, it felt really great. It was what we needed. We needed to prove to ourselves and to everybody else that we're ready to start winning. And to win this early in the season after a week like we had at Daytona, it's a great feeling.
If Jeff had not, taken the role he did in Daytona, it would have made it tough at Rockingham. but I think the team was disappointed, and they went to Rockingham on a mission. And, you know, I've never had a car dominate a race like that one.
Okay, it's the morning after Rockingham, and I've got something to say to Jeff. Jeff.
What are you doing?
Well, I've got the camera out again. We've got good news to talk about. Last week Daytona wasn't so good, but Rockingham wasn't bad, huh?
No, I'm happy now. I'm all smiles and got a lot to talk about. But you know, it's exciting after Daytona to have the weekend that we had, things going so well, the disappointment, and we had to bounce back right away. And we certainly did that in Rockingham in a big way. The pole, the win. It was a great weekend, and there's nothing better than a Monday after a win to just be able to sit here at home and take it all in and have all that excitement built up.
At Richmond, Jeff won the pole, but finished 36th. A week later, he was back on track. Another dominating performance to his second win of the season, and he jumped from 13th to 6th in the points.
Brooke, where you at?
I'm back. I've got the camera.
I was hoping you had that camera again.
More good news, huh?
We've won Atlanta, so we'll just get the camera out every other week. And
that sounds good.
Hopefully we'll be talking about a victory. But
not a bad start, huh?
Another great weekend in Atlanta, and wonderful things to talk about, smiles on our faces, and got another Coke. So it's just things are going great right now, so we keep bouncing back. You know, we have a down weekend, boom, we come right back. So now we got to get that consistency going, and this could be a great year.
At the track too tough to tame, things looked in control until the lady in black caught him.
All right, let's go back to green, shall we? Sterling Marlin up front with Bobby Labonte second, and Jeff Gordon is third. The crowd that gathered here early today is still here. Nobody has left. We've got a lot of laps to run. We are back to green.
And none of the leaders made a pit stop.
Whoa!
And Bobby Labonte gets in the 22 car and Jeff Gordon right in front of Jeff Gordon.
Gordon gets the worst of it, I believe.
He finished 32nd. It was a tough day on both Jeff and Brooke.
Since you're killing me again here at Monopoly, I think I need to do some interviewing on you or something here. Get your side. I'll be the interviewer here again. All right, we're taping. Well, we don't have as exciting news to talk about this weekend, but Darlington, we were running good and things were going well, but I crashed, and I just want to know what goes through your mind. I know when I'm out there in the race car and I'm going through something like that, I'm just trying to save the race. I'm not thinking of myself, but I can't imagine what's going through your mind.
Well, that's all I'm thinking of. I can remember I was just sitting there in the pits and everything was going really great. I even heard Ray on the radio saying, take it easy a little bit, because you were just really running away with it, doing really good. And then there's a crash in turn one, and every time I hear that on the radio, I know every wife feels this way. Your heart just stops, and you just wonder, is it your husband or is it Jeff? And all I could think of, I hope it's not Jeff, and it was, and you were in the wall, and luckily no one was hurt in the crash, and it was just the car that was hurt, and that's tough, and I was, I was disappointed, and the guys, they were disappointed, but the first thing they tell me, they say, Brooke, he's okay, because they know, they see me over there, and I'm, getting nervous, and it's almost like you're in shock for a little bit. It's like your heart kind of stops beating for a couple seconds till you know exactly what's going on and how serious the accident is, or how bad the wreck was, or injuries and everything.
It's amazing too how quick things can turn around. Things can be going so well.
I know, your life can change in a minute.
Gordon answered the questions and his skeptics on the treacherous high banks of Bristol.
Here comes Jeff off the fourth corner. Is he going to win it? Yes, he will. Jeff Gordon takes the checkered flag and wins his first career short track.
Bristol is a place that we've always had trouble at. I don't think we've ever finished a race at Bristol. Now we've won one there. It was good because we weren't the fastest car all day. It was good. The pit crew guys got a lot of work. We showed that we could adjust on the car and make it better. Jeff showed a lot of patience, a lot of maturity, and showed that he's got what it takes to keep on going, to win more races, maybe someday be a Winston Cup champion.
People said, okay, Jeff Gordon can win at Daytona. He can win at Rockingham. Now, if he's shown he can win the Bristol race, you know, that's a short track, the toughest short track, then he is for real. And he can win everywhere, and he can win every race. So he's capable of winning every race. So I think that was kind of an endorsement by the rest of the sport that this kid is for real.
We never won at short track. What do you think about this win?
This might have been the sweetest win of all of them. You know, to win on a short track, it proves a lot to myself. I didn't know if I had or the team had what it took to win on a short track. So this is a very, very special win. Things are really, really going well. And you know, I just don't know what's next. I mean, we're fourth in points. We're right where we want to be. I mean, our goals this season have been to be in the top 5 in points at the end of the year. You know, to win 4 or 5 races. Now we've won 3 races. This is unbelievable.
Oh, I was so glad to see Bristol be over with and you in the victory circle. I never thought I'd see that day. That was great.
Bristol, it seems like Bristol's the type of race where you can have the best car and it's so easy to get caught up in a wreck.
Definitely.
And just to be able to come out of there with all 4 fenders on the car is one thing. To come out of there with 4 fenders and a win is unbelievable.
By April's end, he found consistency with 2 more top 5s at North Wilkesboro and Martinsville, and had climbed to 3rd in the points, but still 70 behind just about everyone's pick for the title, Dale Earnhardt, a man on a mission for his 8th championship. The confrontation got up close and personal at Talladega as Jeff and Dale battled head-to-head. No holds barred, but when the tires stopped squealing, the kid and the champ were tied at the top of the standings. Jeff had reason to be happy.
It's time to talk about Talladega. That was exciting, huh?
That was an exciting.
What a race.
That was an exciting
what a finish.
race. I know it.
Beside Dale Earnhardt for 3rd. Oh, and Markey gets the car out of shape. He and Earnhardt almost get together. The roof flaps do their job. Don't hit it, don't hit it. Oh, hit the wall. Meanwhile, we got to race back to the line. And he backs across the racetrack. And Sterling Marlin avoids him. He just slowed down and got out of the way. Here we go. It comes down now to a battle between Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon off of corner number 4. Jeff Gordon looks to the inside as they come to the tri-oval. Will lead them down, however, he's got the advantage. And there's the checkered flag. Mark Martin wins the Winston Select 500.
I never thought that we'd ever come out of there with a 2nd place finish, tied for the points lead. You know, gosh, what a turning point in the season for us. And you know, just when you think things can't get any better, you have a race like we had at Talladega. Even though we didn't win, I feel like we did win.
I agree. It was like a win. We were so excited and
to run those guys down.
Yeah, there at the end. And Sterling came out and helped you. Remember,
I didn't want to necessarily help Mark Martin win the race, but I wanted to do whatever I could to better my position. And I almost thought I had Mark too. So
it was close.
It was an unbelievable race for us.
I think it's too early to think for us at all. I mean, not only is it too early in the season, I think we're too young as a race team to start to worry, to think about that kind of pressure. We've had some great finishes, and we've been pretty lucky, and it's an honor to be leading the points right now or tied, but I don't want to put that kind of pressure on everybody. Right now, we've still got to go out and do the best we can every week and try and get some more wins. We really like winning those races.
Well, at that point, we were thinking it's going to be a war because Earnhardt's not going to roll over, and you could sense the level of frustration he had over this young kid. You know, he called him Wonder Boy, I guess, but it really, Jeff was beating him, and Earnhardt can take, you know, having a problem and someone moving up in points, but when you beat him, you know, week in and week out, he doesn't like that a lot. So I figured that we would start developing this rivalry, and it did start.
May was a roller coaster ride. They could have cracked from within, but the team came back. They were still third in the points, but it was a month of many emotions.
You know what? We need a break from this game because I'm killing you already. Okay, all
What's
the property
new?
and everything. Let's catch up on our taping.
Yeah, you're a little bit behind.
Well, May has been hectic and busy, so let's.
We haven't really wanted to have to focus on this month. Huh?
Let's talk about May.
Well, let's talk about it.
I mean, Sears Point, the road course, you finished well there and really showed that the team can run in a road course.
The month started out well. We were real happy with the way we ran at the road course. Had those guys, in sight. So that was very reassuring and exciting to know that, hey, not only have we run good on the short tracks and the super speedways, intermediate tracks, I was worried, and I think we were all worried. And I think people were looking to see what's going to happen when Jeff gets to the road courses and this team gets to the road courses. And we were able to show, hey, we're there. We've got we've prepared for this. We've got our game plan down, and we've been able to run well at all different tracks.
What about the Winston Select?
Oh,
that was awesome.
I mean, like I said, this month has started out great. I guess it's just the ending that we're thinking about, but to go from the road course with a high, even though finishing third was like winning, at Sears Point, that was like winning to us. So we came off of a high, come into the Winston Select, and we've been working so hard for this race.
Because Rick Hendrick had never won the Winston Select.
Never won the Select, and Charlotte's our track. I mean, Charlotte has just been so good to us. So we get there, we've got a great car, we've got the best car, and we go out there and win all three segments, and I mean, just blistered them.
Yeah, I was glad you got by Daryl and Dale Earnhardt.
Oh, I know, it was exciting.
I mean, when that wreck happened and you were the one that came out on top, I was just holding my breath that whole segment, I believe.
You and me both. That was the neatest feeling in the world to go and win that race.
The way we won it meant a lot because, believe it or not, that was planned and talked about. And we said we wanted to win the Winston, but we wanted to win all three segments. We wanted to dominate it, and we wanted to show everybody that we had the fastest car. We worked real hard. We built a brand new car. It was built just for that race. Jeff came in that day and got everybody together in the truck and told them, look, this is the way it's going to be. I'm real serious. I want to win this race. We're not going to do any interviews during the race, anything like that. We're going to focus on this thing, and we're going to celebrate when it's over. So it was really, really a good bonding lesson for the team because we set some goals and people thought they were unrealistic, and it turned out they weren't.
Now's the bad part of the month. What about the Coca-Cola 600?
Now comes the part this is why we didn't want to pick up the video camera, but since you did, those are times that we've got to get through. It was not the best race. We had the tire fall off, and we.
This is when you find out what your team's made of. When you go through things like this and you bounce back, that's when you find out what you're made of and what the team's made of.
That's right. This is the tester. So we've
There's
definitely
going to be times like that.
We're definitely in the major testing stage right now, and this is going to be really tough, for us to get through. But the great thing about Charlotte is, as much as it got us down, it might have got us back up, because that's when we've got to bounce back. That's when we got to go
and you
show.
did that at Dover.
And we went right to Dover, fighting back hard and win the pole. And that it seemed like that just calmed everything down and just put everything to rest. So that everybody thought, oh, they're going to fall apart now, and we didn't fall apart.
And another top 10 finish at Dover, so finished 6th there, so that's great.
It was really a great rebuilding weekend for us, and we had to bounce back. We had to bounce back strong, and we did that.
Had a problem in the 600. Those things you have to learn from. It was a mistake. That's life. That's NASCAR racing. You put it behind you and you go on. I feel like we showed this team has some serious depth and a good foundation. We stick together, work together, and we can shoulder some responsibility.
It took a lot for those to pull the guys back together and refocus. But it was a lot like Daytona. Look, guys, we're a team. You're going to have problems. Things like this will happen. And again, it took a little bit more effort during that period to get the guys refocused, to go to the track and just put that one behind them and let's go to the next race.
At the Pocono Tri-Oval, Jeff had victory in his hands and literally lost it there when he missed a shift on the final restart. At the time, he felt the weight of his mistake.
Oh yeah, boardwalk.
Oh no. Please don't put a hotel.
Hotel on boardwalk.
Oh, no.
Boy, how things have turned around since the last time we played,
Yeah.
huh?
And on the racetrack too.
I know. Well,
Back-to-back wins.
we got to update our tape
what
here.
am I doing? Let's put this on the tape here.
It's been a while since we've taped, so we've got some catching up to do. Where are we at?
Well, we've got back-to-back wins.
Ooh, yeah.
At
Like I
New
said,
Hampshire and Daytona.
things are going well right now. So
Well, before we get to that, I want you to tell me about this missed shift at Pocono.
why are you bringing that up? We don't need to talk about that.
It just shows again how you bounce back and rebound from that. I mean, that had to have been awful.
There's things that happen out there that you can't control as a driver, and there's things that happen that the team can't control. But this was something that was totally up to me. I mean,
You can't blame this
I'm
on
in the
anybody
driver's seat.
else,
I'm the
right?
one that's got to come through at the end. And you know what? We had a great day all day long. Things are going our
stops were
way.
great.
Pit stops were great. Nothing could be better. And I don't know what happened.
He drove his butt off all day, and he gives 100% all the time. He was given 100% when he made that shift, and he missed it. It cost him the race. Nobody felt worse than he did. You know, he supported us when we made a mistake that cost him the Daytona 500. You got to support him when he makes a mistake. You know, if it were not for his ability, we wouldn't be doing half the things we're doing. So I felt bad for him, but I told him on the radio, I don't want to see you hanging your head. You know, that's not fair. You can't shoulder that responsibility by yourself. You know, hey, how many races have you won for us? We're not going to worry about this one. Everybody makes mistakes. That was just his mistake.
Get ready, folks. Here we go. Jeff Gordon has the field in tow, looking for the green. It's out. The green and white simultaneously. One lap to decide who wins the Pepsi 400. Marlin goes to the inside of Earnhardt. Earnhardt finally makes a turn low. Earnhardt blocked Marlin down low. Mark Martin has the high side of the racetrack in turn 2 as they come off of the corner and down the back stretch for the final time. Jeff Gordon, the last lead. We have contact between a couple of cars, but everybody keeps it straight. They battle for position. Sterling Marlin down to the outside of Earnhardt. He has the lead by Earnhardt. Jeff Gordon, though, has about a car length and a half lead on Marlin and Earnhardt as they battle for second position to the third and fourth corners. That battle side by side should give the race to Jeff Gordon. Here they come. Jeff Gordon has the lead. Earnhardt moves to the inside. They scramble. It's Jeff Gordon winning. And I think Marlin got second.
Yeah.
Come here, lad.
Congratulations.
Woo! Ah, yes.
You did so good.
Winning the race at Daytona was a tremendous feeling. That was our first ever super speedway restrictor plate win. I mean, I know we won the 125 and we won the Busch Clash, but that was a firecracker 400. That race has got a lot of history. It still gives me chills, you know, to think about it. It was a really neat deal, and it was really neat the way he won it because it came down to a shootout, a one-lap shootout, where the way he shifted the car was very, very important. And he was so good at shifting that he won the race. And it was good justification for him because of the Pocono incident.
Daytona was a whole lot better the second time around, huh?
Boy, what a difference.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we still had the same car, a good car, but, you know, we had to have some fortune go our way. And this time things went our way. We had great pit stops. And, the first race, the Daytona 500, a pit stop might have been what cost us the race. This time, I feel like a pit stop's what won us the race. So
That's right.
we're able to learn from all our mistakes and hold those guys off. I mean, when you got Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt in your mirror,
at Daytona.
they're the guys to beat, especially at Daytona on a restart with 2 laps to go. I can tell you, I don't know how confident I was in myself, and at this,
especially after the missed shift at Pocono.
especially after Pocono, this is when I had to make up for that missed shift, and we were able to do it, and that was a great feeling, and probably the best way to bounce back and get my confidence and everybody's confidence pumped up so much, and I think that's what took us into Loudon so strong.
And look how well New Hampshire went. I mean, qualifying wasn't too great. I mean, you know, you wrecked in qualifying, but hey, won the race on Sunday, and that's what counts.
Well, you know, we went to New Hampshire saying, okay, you know, every time this year we've been able to bounce back. But you know, this time we went out and boom, I hit the wall qualifying. I'm like, uh-oh, this is not the way we wanted to bounce back, not bouncing off the walls. So, you know, we kept fighting. I mean, this team has been so determined all year long. That's what's so great about it is the guys that they never quit. They have so much confidence in themselves and in me, and that's what's shown through here, you know, on each and every race. And so we qualify second round fastest, start 21st, and it's like.
And that's the furthest back that you had started, I think, huh?
Yeah, I think it's the furthest back we'd started all year long.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think we were going to do it. I never thought we were going to win that race, and we just wanted, you know, we're going out of each race, let's try to get a top 5, let's try to get a top 5, and all of a sudden here we are going for a top 5, and we find ourselves, you know, winning a race.
He goes all the time wide open, and he was going for the pole. Now, we've got a lot of poles this year that we maybe missed by this much. You know, that day he missed by this much and hit the concrete. Came back, talked about what we were going to do to win that race, and it was just another great deal for us because we used pit strategy, we used pit stops, and we used some things that Jeff and I discussed before that race started to win the race. And when you make a plan and then you really do win, it's just unbelievable.
Between you and me, I know you've been telling everyone we're not going to talk about the championship, we're going to put it on the back burner and everything, but really, I mean, this is our home video just for us. I just want to know, what do you think? I mean, do you think that it's in your grasp?
Well, I don't know. You know, we're talking about 7-time champion Dale Earnhardt, Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace. I mean, these guys, they're tough. They're the best, and you know, we're going to have to really show what our team is made of if we're going to win this championship. But I never dreamed that we'd be in this position, that we'd even be talking about this. So there's no telling what can happen. But I think from here on out, inside and as far as the team's concerned, we're going for the championship.
Still too early, and you got to remember who's behind us. You know, I just think, you know, you wouldn't take a young fighter that you're bringing up through the ranks and throw him in the ring with Mike Tyson. And right now, I don't feel like this team is ready to get into the ring with Dale Earnhardt.
I want to switch roles here and ask you what you think. Do you think that we can win this championship?
Well, I mean, the way you look at it is, you start the season just wanting to be the top 5 in points. Okay, and you've pretty much been there this whole season long so far, and we're just halfway. And the team is really growing, and everyone's working together so well, and just, I mean, you can just feel just the excitement in the guys and just how well they're gelling together, and Ray is really happy, and he's just overseeing everything.
So you think we can do it?
Well, I mean, deep down, I really feel like you can, and I think that you have the ability as long as everything keeps going your way, and I think that Ray has all the, you know, talents to keep everybody together, and he always has those great pit strategies, doing the 2-tire stops here and there, and I mean, you never know.
Beating around the bush,
I know, you never know, but I think you can do it.
Atop the points, the season shaping up as a dream come true turned to a nightmare at Talladega Superspeedway. An incident that would send his teammate on a horrific airborne ride had a nerve-shattering effect on the young warrior, who still managed an 8th place finish.
What are you doing?
Well, I've got the camera out again, and I thought we'd put another segment on the video camera. We got to talk about Talladega.
I'm not sure if we want to talk about Talladega, do we?
Well, we're going to document the whole year, and we're going to document the ups and the downs. And I know how difficult Talladega was, especially for you. And
so what you're saying is we got to talk about the good things that happened this year, but we got to talk about the bad things that are happening too.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, they're few and far between, but we still got to talk about them.
I understand. All right. Well, Talladega was was looking like it was going to be a real good weekend, and you know, I guess if you look at it, you know, from a couple different ways, it wasn't a bad weekend. I mean, we had a finish. We didn't have a DNF, but then when you really look at the picture, what a tough weekend. Really, probably more mentally. What I really can't get out of my mind is that, you know, thinking about the whole incident with Schrader. I mean, that was. I mean, obviously not as tough for me as it was for Schrader. I mean, being able to race with your teammates is the greatest experience in the world, but when you have a collision like that is so non-intentional, and you look in your mirror and you see, you know, your teammate, you're going, please, please don't, you know, don't get airborne, don't get airborne. And the next thing, you know, he's airborne and flipping down the backstretch. I mean, it scared me to death. But, you know, I was so glad to know that he was okay, that, you know, and really I got so down on myself at that time. We started going backward.
You really couldn't drive a race. I think it was hard to forget about it.
I was just not focused at all, and I was worried about Kenny. I mean, I didn't want to hit anybody like that, but you certainly don't want it to happen to your teammate.
It was a real tough day. We had a fast car, led a lot, felt like we should have won again. Left the car out one time, got hung out on a pit stop, used tires on it, car got a little bit loose. Jeff got into Kenny, and Kenny took a bad crash. You know. That, you know, I've never been in that situation, so I don't know, but there was a point on the radio there where Jeff thought he had actually killed Kenny, and he just lost his composure a little bit, and we had to get him back and let him know that we needed to finish this race. And a lot of that credit's got to go to Kenny, because Kenny came down to our pits to make sure that Jeff was all right and knew he was all right, and that was the way that that he was able to keep going, because at one point in that race, Jeff just wanted to park the car.
Jeff was on the radio and he was crying. And he said, is he okay? And, you know, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I immediately went to the hospital to see how Kenny was. And there were 7 other drivers in there, including Terry was in it too. So Kenny came out and he knew what had happened. And he and I were talking, and I said, Jeff's tore up, and he didn't mean it. And Kenny said, I know he didn't. And Kenny got on a golf cart and went up to the pits and got on the radio and said, Jeff, do your job. I know everything's fine.
The best thing about was that Schrader gets on my radio and he says, Jeff, don't let that bother you. You know, you go out there and you run your own race. And that probably got me back up as much as anything. And as awful as I still feel today, you know, to have a teammate like that can forgive you during times like that is just unbelievable. So, you know, Kenny Schrader, he's the greatest in my book.
A pole at the Brickyard, and then 4 top 10s left Jeff with his biggest points lead of the season, 176 over Sterling Marlin, with Earnhardt lurking just behind.
We're right on track. This is amazing. I can't believe the way this year's how it's turning out. I mean, we're leading the points. This is unbelievable. You know, I don't know what's going to happen next.
Jeff didn't disappoint at Darlington. He spun, but it turned out just to be a short detour to victory at one of NASCAR's crown jewels, the Southern 500. His point lead extended to 217 over Marlin and Earnhardt.
All right, I got the camera this time. Let's see what Brooke's up to. I found her in the refrigerator where she found me the last time we won a race. Hey, sweetie.
Hey.
I found you.
You beat me to it.
I know it. I got the camera this time.
I've got good news to talk about.
Every time we're in the refrigerator, it's because we've won a race or something.
That was probably one of the best races this year. I mean, Darlington, the Southern 500, it has so much history and tradition. I mean, just for you to win that race means so much. And the team, the guys were all pumped up.
I can't believe I won at Darlington.
I can't believe it either. Especially after the spin.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. When I saw you spinning, I was like, oh my goodness, well there, you know, we'll have to salvage a good finish from it. And then, boy, you really did.
Well, we were hoping that we could win the Southern 500 and people would stop calling us Yankees. Darlington was another great statement for this team. I mean, We came back from a brush with the wall, made several pit stops, worked on the car all day, and ended up beating Dale Earnhardt at Darlington. It was a great effort. It gives us so much confidence, and it shows people that we're for real.
The season rolled on with a top 10 at Richmond and a dominating win at Dover, and his point lead was padded to 309 over Earnhardt, now in second, looking like a caged bull ready to make a charge. Still, the dream was looking tantalizing and real.
Okay, I'm coming up on Jeff. I see him. He's all intent and... Hey, Boo,
Hey,
I caught you.
What are you doing? Why are you
Hey,
sneaking up on me?
Another basket
Look
from,
what we got.
from Rick Hendrick, I guess.
Oh, man, we got the good stuff, too, boy, I tell you.
You're all intent looking at it. I
all
guess
right.
this
Oh,
means another win.
Well, won a race at Dover, and what a day, what a race car, what an effort. You know, it just seemed like that thing was on a rail, and you know, some days you get race cars like that, some days you don't, but those things don't come along very often to have, I think we led like 400 laps. Man, what a day.
And the night before, Ray told me on the phone, he said, we're junk. He said, we're not going to run well tomorrow. You ought to, you know, don't expect anything great tomorrow. And I get to Dover, and the car takes off. He changes everything on Sunday morning, and Jeff was just in a groove, and his rhythm was great, and just drove away from him all day long.
Well, you got one at the Monster Mile. What's next?
Well, you know, I mean, I'm looking at this season, and we're saying, don't talk about points. No, we can't win the championship. We've got to, you know, get more years under our belt. And I tell you, I don't know how to take this. I don't know how to believe it. It's happening so fast that, you know, we can't really control it, and maybe that's good. Maybe that's a good thing. We might end up winning this championship after all, and things sure are looking good right now. So keep our fingers crossed and hope that God stays with us. And you never know, we might be on the stage in New York.
At Charlotte, Dale charged from last to second, and while a mechanical problem sent Jeff plummeting to 30th. Then Jeff's 20th at Rockingham, coupled with Dale's 7th, left Jeff's lead at 147, by no means insurmountable. With the pressure on at Phoenix, the hard-won season of the campaign paid off.
Well, we're winding down the season, and we just got back from Phoenix, but we haven't gotten the camera out for a little while.
That's just what I was thinking.
You got the camera?
Yeah, always prepared. I thought we'd maybe do a couple races here, talk about it. We need to start with Charlotte, though.
Charlotte was an interesting week. Boy, I mean, we're getting down. It's like, I guess this is what championships are all about. You know, you can't have it go your way all year long. And, you know, Charlotte's been one of those racetracks that has been so good to us. And this year it's been that track. It's like, okay, we're going to teach you guys, you know, can you do it? Because we're going to make you work for it. And we got out of Charlotte with you know, a pretty tough day, a tough finish. But you know, earlier in the season, every time that we had a tough run, we were able to bounce right back. And that's what was so great about, you know, going to Rockingham. We're like, okay, we're going to bounce back. We're going to bounce back. And Rockingham was even a tougher day, I think. Maybe the finish wasn't as bad, but it was one of those days where just nothing went our way. And now we're starting to think, you know, is it going to happen? You know, are we going to lose this championship? We've had this big lead in points, and I guess, you know, that's why Earnhardt is so good. I mean, the guy has won, you know.
They never give up.
They never give up. He's won 7 championships, and, you know, that is absolutely amazing. Here we are going through a season where we're working on trying to win our first championship, and it is tough. We went into Phoenix, I think, with a lot of pressure on the team, on myself, because we had a couple bad races, and Earnhardt's making a charge at us and closing things up dramatically, and we really had to do something this weekend. And it's a great day when you can take about a 10th or 12th place car and turn it into a 5th place finish.
How about when the tire was rubbing?
Oh, goodness.
The fender was down on the tire, and Rusty and Earnhardt said that you needed to come in.
I leave pit road, and you know, I don't know what happened. Somehow, you know, we were all flying off pit road, then we had to slam on the brakes, and I got in the side of, I think, Derek Cope or something, and bent up my right front fender, and I was like, uh-oh, you know, what'd I do,
This
what'd I
could be
do?
trouble.
And then those guys start telling me, you know, Rusty's out there going, you know, I didn't know if he said I had a flat tire or the fender was rubbing or what. And then Earnhardt's up there telling me the same thing. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? You know, I don't think these are the best guys to listen to at the time. The tire was smoking all the way to the finish, and I didn't know.
It definitely could have gone flat.
It could have blown at any time. So we were very lucky at Phoenix to come out of there with a top 5 finish. Didn't lose hardly any points, and now we're going into Atlanta, the last race of the year. All we got to do is basically start the race.
I'm starting to get a little bit excited.
I'm very excited, but still, I mean, there's that 1% that
Yeah, you
I don't
never
like.
know.
I
know
don't like that
1%.
1%.
Yeah.
So it could be the greatest weekend of our lives and the greatest day to be able to win a Winston Cup championship, or it's going to be the most disappointing day of our lives.
Championships are won on the track, and the Hendrick Motorsports crew worked hard to ensure nothing came between them and their mission. Still, Jeff may have been confident, but he was nervous as the dream of a championship was poised to become reality in Atlanta, the final race of the 1995 season.
And in his third full season of competition, he becomes only the 22nd driver in history to wear the crown of NASCAR Winston Cup champion.
Boy, that was a great time, wasn't it?
It was. That was something I'm going to remember forever. It was such a relief to finally know that you won the championship and we're celebrating and we're getting ready to go to New York and have the big party.
We didn't have a great day in Atlanta, but boy, to be the Winston Cup champion was a dream come true and something that I never thought would ever happen. Unbelievable. Oh, you're gonna have to pinch me. I tell you,
Before I pinch you, let's put this on tape. Let's get all our feelings on here so we can remember this from years to come.
I tell you, that's been the best thing that you have done right there. I cannot believe that you have all year long filmed this whole year. I mean, it's like
it was a pretty good idea,
like you had
huh?
intuition, sweetie. I can't
guess
believe it.
so. Well, something I want to ask you is, I want to know which was better, the quest for getting the championship or being the Winston Cup champion?
Well, definitely being the champion. I mean, the you know, trying to win the champion, that was the tough part. I mean, going through all those things, you know, the pressures, the ups and downs. I mean, along the way there were so many great wins and great times, but you know, still you're like, man, are we going to do it? Are we going to do it? I mean, at first we didn't even know if we were going to, you know, be in contention for a championship, and all of a sudden the season just turned into it, and we were forced to go for the championship, which is a great thing to happen. But to come down to Atlanta and finally cross that checkered flag and say, congratulations, you know, you are the 1995 Winston Cup champion. Those were the greatest words that I've ever heard.
It's still unbelievable.
Oh, it is, and I mean, anytime I want to have a smile on my face, all I gotta do is pick up this tape that you've been making, pick up the video, and just see it, and that'll put a huge smile on my face. Now, to make this complete, I've got to ask you some questions.
Okay, your turn behind the camera, huh?
Okay. All right, I'm not the pro like you at this thing here. Boy, I'll be shaking everywhere. No, I mean, you know, you asked me what I thought about the championship and what it was like to win. I mean, as a wife and as my best friend, I mean, what kind of things went through your mind? You know, kind of give us a summary of the whole year and just what it feels like for you to be the champion and us to be, you know, the 1995 Winston Cup champions as a team.
Well, I think the best thrill for me is that knowing that my husband has obtained his dream and his goal, and that you're, you know, where you want to be, and that you're so happy, and that you and Ray and the whole team have included me so much in everything, and always, you know, make sure I'm there at the races and can watch you race, because when you're out there racing, I feel like it's a part of me out there with you. For you to win the championship this year, I mean, in my opinion, it's just unbelievable. And when I think about it right now, I can't believe it. And I'm sure that, as time passes on, it'll sink in a little bit better. But right now, I'm just so happy for you and just so proud of you, I guess.
I'm extremely proud of Jeff. I'm proud of Jeff for lots of reasons. I've known him for a long time. I'm closer to him than I am to anybody else, other than family, and we're just about as close as two people can be without being related. And he is a very good person. He's done really well with his marriage. He's done well with his religious beliefs, and the things that he's done lately, it shows me that he's going to, for many years to come, be a good Winston Cup champion, and he's going to be a good friend.
Jeff has matured beyond belief. You just don't see a guy 23 years old, 22, 23, so focused on what he wants out of life. He's a smart competitor, and he's a great person. And, he knows what he wants in life, and he's just, I don't know how you could ask him to change anything he does and be any better.
That was a year in the life of a champion as never seen before. The year I won, it was different in many ways, but also the same. A season-long ride with incredible highs and lows from me, my family, my crew. That's what makes our sport so incredible, the consistent dedication it requires for success. And we just relived that firsthand. With that young man and his wife, this story is far from over. We've told them, keep taping, and we'll be back. I'm Benny Parsons, and for Jeff and Brooke, thanks for sharing a season where dreams come true.